Okay, welcome back to the channel. There's been some talk recently about banning lambdas in Excel eSports. And when I say lambdas, what I mean really is pre-built lambda functions. Now, there's not only been talk, there's actually been some action on this as well. So I think it's an important one to discuss. Up front, my position is obviously for, but I'll try to take a measured approach here and see things from both sides. I see some parallels between this argument and arguments I've seen in some of the other sports I've done. So as background, I've been a professional acrobat before, so I did that to a high level. I also was one of the first people to land a quadruple kickflip on a skateboard, and I've been the number 2 ranked powerlifter for my weight class in the country. So I'll likely touch on some of the examples I've seen there and their knock-on impacts and how that could unfold in this world. Okay, so what sparked me to become so passionate that I need to make a video about not banning lambdas? Well, the world champion of Excel, Dim, has made a few videos, the case against lambdas, are custom functions cheating, and I don't want to speak for him, but I know he had this How I Won the World Championship video, which kind of went viral, got 191,000 views. If you compare that to the other views, that's way out of line, so it attracted a huge crowd, and some of them didn't like the idea that you could use pre-built functions. So you end up with comments like this from someone that doesn't compete in Excel eSports, 197 likes, 35 replies. The topic has a large volume of voices around it. Perhaps these videos are a response to comments like this and such a large viewer base on that video to just open the idea of should they be banned. Now, I loved him, but sorry, I think it's extremely irresponsible if you're the world champion of something to say something should be banned and not give the full context of arguments for and against, because your voice will now hold way more credence than anyone else in the community. And if you recommend something without a fully balanced argument, then things can be implemented. And lo and behold, we have now seen that with the rules release from MEWC and a division where lambda functions are not allowed in the solution. And I think this is hugely problematic, but I will get to those reasons later. Now, before I present my case for allowing pre-built lambda functions, I want to talk about incentives and groups, because this is really important and should drive all of the decision making. So first of all, you have this group over here, the competitors, and I'm talking about the top 100 or so competitors here, the ones that often make it to the stage or have a really good chance to make it to the stage. So what are their incentives for competing? Well, for fun, for pride, and perhaps because they want to win, for recognition, a creative outlet, perhaps for money, or they might just like puzzle solving, and this is an outlet to do that, problem solving. Now, all of these top 100 people will have pre-built functions or know how to use them, so you can think about whether having lambdas aligns with these incentives or not. For me, I would say it does. It helps give you an advantage, it can make you win, it's fun to build them and use them. You can get recognition for your lambdas, like Bo and his maze lambdas, very impressive. I find writing lambdas a creative process. Money comes with the winning, and it really tests your problem solving skills, whether you can make a general solution to something with a lambda. Now let's talk about the next group. This is the fans. So what are their incentives? So any sports fans, it's entertainment, backing your favorites. So it might be your family or your friends. Do lambdas align with these? Well, I think having lambdas that these people can discuss, and which we do all the time, you know, we'll see a lambda and go, oh, what was that lambda? That's interesting, and talk about it. It creates engagement. And the fans' incentives are actually very important, because fans in any sport buy the tickets, buy the merchandise, which funds the whole thing. However, there's also something crucial about fans, and that's that most of them will do the sport themselves as well. So they have other incentives like learning, getting good enough to go on the stage, and other crossover with competitors, i.e. they have all these incentives as well because they compete. So now in this group, do lambdas align with those incentives? Well, for some of them they will and some they won't. So for people that don't know how to use lambdas or don't have the time to build a lot of pre-built functions and put the work in, banning lambdas helps them competitively because it takes something away from these people that they don't have. And in sports, nobody likes it if somebody is using something that you don't have access to, unless they have access to it themselves, then they like it. And then finally, who's sitting in the middle? The FMWC team who organize all this stuff. What's their main incentive? To grow the community. They also share the incentives with fans because they may be fans themselves. I'd hope they wouldn't do the job unless they like the community and everything else. And they also get these high-level competitors' incentives as well. Particularly more money. If the company's successful, it can be reinvested and grow and so on and so on and so on. However, because they get both groups of incentives, along with all of those incentives that they get, because they get both groups, they have some disadvantages. And those are that they have to regulate the competition, they have to organize it, which is a lot of effort, and they have to mediate it. One of the extra things the FMWC team has to consider about growing the community is marketing and winning the new people. So this is public in the office that could be competitors but haven't discovered the competition yet. There'll be a number of kind of influencers with big followings that attend this event to engage with their socials, more of these people, And the more of them you can get up the chain and into the competition by reducing barriers to entry, everything grows more. So as we go through this video, let's try and frame it from the context of everybody's incentives. Now, some real data about what these groups look like. I've downloaded all of the results from the last 3 years to every battle. I've then taken all the individual competitors, there are about 1,300 of them, and I've averaged their scores for only the battles they've competed in. And what you get, as you'd expect, is this log normal distribution. So to read this chart, the numbers on top of the bars is how many people are in the bucket, and the bucket at the bottom is the average points they scored. So out of these 1,200 people, you have 1,000 or so averaging under 550 points, so the vast majority of people. Then you have 100 or so people up to 650 points, and then you have the rest in this top tier bucket over here. So this end bucket is typically the people that will make it to the final stages and harder cases. These middle people have a good chance, and the lower people, not much chance. Now, all of these people in the top 2 buckets are going to know about pre-prepped lambdas. They're going to have them. Most of them will enjoy using them. When you have the one person here saying they should be banned, you get probably half of this group saying, yeah, that's great, that will help me, so I agree. And then you get all of these voices, 800 or so voices, saying something. You potentially get influencers of the communities agreeing, and you get people that don't know anything about the sport yet, but potential competitors agreeing as well. And you get this masses of voices potentially arguing for something that drowns out this small subset of people who it actually really impacts. So you need to be very careful about cutting through the noise if you're going to make any decisions on this. So the first argument I want to make is about fairness, and this is a very huge critical point. Sometimes decisions are made to try and make things more fair, but it has the opposite effect. Now I'm going to draw parallels with powerlifting here. So in powerlifting, there are 2 main subsets of competition. The first is untested, so people can use any performance-enhancing drugs they like, and in the tested division, performance-enhancing drugs are banned, of course. Now let's think of lambdas as performance-enhancing drugs, for example. On the untested side, they're allowed, there's no mediation to be done, it's easy, it's a completely fair playing field. On the tested side, every single year we see people going onto a banned list, some of whom have multiple medals, are world champions potentially, have been for a number of years. They got away with it for so long and cheated other people out of medals, so the competition now becomes extremely unfair. Relating that to Excel eSports, I'm extremely worried about this rule here. So people can enter the Rising Star category, which has incentives like getting into the World Championship, having potential prize money. They're not allowed to use lambda functions. So you now need to mediate that, and people can quite easily come here and, I could change my lambdas to lets and copy paste them from this file into another file and pretend I didn't use lambdas. Then the organizers have opened a whole can of worms where they need to decide whether they think somebody used pre-prepared functions or not. And this happens in powerlifting as well. Some people have been using drugs and getting away with it. Some people have not been using drugs and have been mis-tested and banned from the competition. And there are lawsuits about that and everything else, and it is a whole absolute mess. We already saw this with AI when AI was banned. To touch on that, I think AI is completely different. Think of other sports. AI is like sending a forklift robot in to do your squat for you in powerlifting and lifting 1,000 kilos against humans. Well, if those rules are allowed, everybody just takes a forklift and whoever has the best forklift wins. Completely nonsensical, so AI of course should be banned. I think lambdas is a very different story. The case Dim showed as the argument against lambdas still took him 17 minutes. I also did it in 17 minutes, but bear in mind that's a case we've probably both done 5 or 6 times. We know all the nuances of things that can go wrong. It's practiced, we've tested the lambdas on it previously to make sure they work. And I believe if that case came out now, having never seen it before, I don't think anyone would get a full score because you have to digest the layout, the rules, read everything. And that honestly adds up to a lot of time the first time you do a case. So yeah, hopefully you get my point about this potentially making it more unfair and opening a can of worms. I don't want to labour the point too much. But one more thing on fairness and a parallel to another sport, skateboarding. So lambdas are a bit like equipment. In most sports you'll use equipment. Darts, you'll use darts. Skateboarding, you use a skateboard, so on and so on. There's always equipment involved. Now for me to land a quadruple kickflip, I used this skateboard. It's 7 inches wide, which is actually very thin. That makes it spin faster. I don't know if you can see, these trucks, they are hollow, which makes them much lighter. So I've geared that board up to spin a lot faster than other people's. Now if I was having a competition with them where I set a trick and they had to repeat, I'd set a triple kickflip, quadruple kickflip. Most of the time they're not going to be able to land it because they'd be using a board like this, which is way wider. However, the benefit of a wider and potentially heavier board means there's more room to land on it. You don't need to be as precise in your landing. So there's other tricks, grinds and so on that will be easier. So now I would be at a disadvantage. And lambda sets are somewhat like this. We all have a choice to curate our own lambda set, and I think that makes it interesting. There's talk about what trucks you want to use, if you have specific styles, what board size you want to use. The same is true in Excel. There's talk about different people's lambda sets. It all adds to engagement, flavor, and fun in the sport for me. And another point about fairness is we need to be careful about who we're catering for here. So I might really like basketball. I'm a 5'7" man. I'm never going to be in the NBA with the 6' whatever giants. I'm just at such a disadvantage genetically and everything else. Unfortunately, life is not fair. Now, does that mean I can't compete in basketball? No, I could go to a local club and have games there, but I'd have to accept that I'm never going to be at the top level. And if you're not willing to pre-prepare and put massive work in up front in any sport, then you're not going to be at the top level. Other sports are more unfair than Excel because, like the height example, genetics come into it. With Excel, everybody has a fair opportunity to write whatever they want up front, and I think that's a really good thing, and that makes it fair. My next big argument for lambdas is creativity and the real-world applications. So writing some of these lambdas, particularly the maze ones, some of those have taken like a week, lots of thinking, lots of testing, and that has been a logical process, a creative process, and the satisfaction at the end is highly rewarding to see something work how you want it to. If we couldn't build lambdas for Excel eSports, I wouldn't have bothered and I'd have missed out on all that stuff. There's just no point in me doing it. Why would I put the work in for something I may never use? And in understanding them, it's made me better. And the whole point of the competition is to push people to be the best at Excel they can, including this skill. I think it is really important. Not only that, but I've used this lambda set in my real job at work. So it's provided real time savings and value in the real world as a byproduct of it being allowed in Excel eSports. The competition is making people better at their real jobs and in the real world because lambdas are allowed. And I would hate to see that go away. The final argument I'm going to make is on pushing boundaries. So case authors know we have these lambdas. They know kind of where the limits of Excel are. If we didn't have lambdas, then we may not know that certain things are possible to do in single cell formulas. A good example is this case that came out from Harry Gross. So it's a maze where we collect bananas. This was not a competition case, this was a free case. See who can solve it. It's extremely hard. And because we know we're able to do really complex things in Excel with pre-built lambdas and whatnot, it opens the door to pushing out a case like this and say, hey, we've all got this crazy stuff. Can anyone find a solution to this? And only 10, 20 people solved this. It took me about a week. I made 3 lambdas specifically for this case, and it was an extremely fun and satisfying problem. Would we get something as hard if it wasn't for pre-built lambdas? Maybe, I don't know. But I like to see hard and creative case design, and I think a lot of that is enabled because of the progress that's been generated from all the work that's gone into lambdas and whatnot. Now, on Dim's original video, his argument was no human can solve this in 30 minutes without pre-built lambdas. Well, maybe not, but that was the semi-final case to a World Championship competition. That case is designed for only the top 24 people max to ever see. 12 people will see it, but it could go into either group. There's 2 groups of 12. So there's a case made for the 24 absolute best people on Excel in the world. It should definitely not be human solvable for people that haven't pre-built functions. That's not the target market. We're trying to adjust something down here to make it accessible to people that will never see it in a competitive setting. So I have gone on probably for far too long here, and I want to wrap up. One last thing I'll say about trying to get new people in the door to the competition and growing everything. I don't think we should be scaling back the difficulty or pre-preparedness needed to solve these very hard end game cases. I think Road to Las Vegas should be approachable for beginners without them, perhaps. But really, even more so, I think local chapters now have a big responsibility to try and cater to this audience. I know there's talk of making some of the first questions in a case more approachable. I think the whole case should still be approachable for beginners without lambdas, because you can separate the top players later when it gets to the finals stage. You don't need to have 5 easy questions and then a huge jump off a cliff difficulty that needs tons of pre-prepared lambdas. The difficulty can still increase, of course, but it should be that a beginner can watch a walkthrough of the whole case and understand how that solution was done without pre-built lambdas. And then in the finals, obviously, when the final 20 or so people are in a room, then sure, ramp up the difficulty to whatever you like to separate those competitors out. Anyway, this is a hot topic. I'm kind of passionate about it. I really don't want to see lambdas go away. I think that would be dreadful for the sport. I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts in the comments to get the discussion going on this. I really don't want a wrong decision to be made or lambdas to go away. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. See you next time.